Welcome to the Liberating River, where spiritual freedom meets soul aligned wealth. I'm your guide, Wanda Nesbit. Let's break free, build boldly, and live fully together. It is definitely a place where it feels like faith is silent, and silence can be terrifying. But realize silence is not absence, it is recalibration. The divine speaks differently in the wilderness. The divine talks directly to you. If you need proof, look at all the sacred books. Everywhere you look. Whenever somebody was in the wilderness, what happened? It was a place of training or cleansing or awakening for that person. And they had to tune out the distractions of others because God is not going to compete with that noise that's within your ears. It does not come through pulpits or perfection, but through silence, through the wind, through the memories, through sometimes even music, through breath. When you have been trained to hear God through noise, quiet can sound like abandonment. It can sound like God's not with you anymore. But stay there. Do not run from it. Hear me. Do not run from it. The wilderness is a critical and imperative place for your growth. I promise you, just like all the other witnesses that have been through the wilderness, it builds your relationship with God. That's where your true relationship with God strengthens and develops. Why? I'm going to say it again. Because quiet is the sound of your soul remembering its place and remembering that God is always with you. You know, maybe that's really what spiritual breakthrough is. I know it's not the lightning strikes. We know that. But maybe it's a homecoming. Maybe the wilderness is a homecoming. You begin to remember that the divine was never outside of you. Maybe you remember that the divine was always with you. And he's waiting for you to perform well enough to be loved. And I say it that way because when you go into the wilderness, you got to perform there. You got to perform something. You know what you're performing? You're stripping down. You're detoxing from those things that was toxic for you. That's your performance. I'm not talking about performing. I'm talking about the performance of loving yourself. Love has been the pulse beneath every question. Love is the definition of God. Awakening is just that peace to help you find clarity. Awakening is found in surrender, that detoxing. And you know how you start to realize you're going through it? You notice things. You notice the little synchronicities that feel extra personal. You know, those signs that show up like little love notes or God, or as I like to say, God winks. And it's like, only you, God, would have done that. It's in that stillness. And to me, I'm gonna put it this way: it's those stillness that feels ridiculously holy. Like it feels sacred. I believe that's when the divine starts meeting you in the ordinary things so that you know that you know. God is with you. In what things? How do I see it? Through the sunlight. Say you're sitting somewhere and the sun hits you and the sun feels different on your skin. It feels like it's giving you life. Or in laughing. They say laughter is good for the soul. So a true hearty laugh, I don't know, it does something inside of you. Think about it. Every time you have laughed, it changes something that was once tight within. And then, of course, I stand on forgiveness. And you hear it. It frees you more than it excuses that other person who did you wrong. Something else that I have found during the deconstruction is there is a stage in that journey I feel is called integration. It is when you stop needing to destroy the old just to prove you've grown. I know we always like to clean up stuff, but sometimes it's not a cleanup. Sometimes everything is merging at the same time. You're breaking through the ground. The seed breaks through the ground at the same time that it's growing. You know what I mean? When you can hold, I'll put it this way, when you can hold what once hurt you and still bless what it taught you. Woo! Can you do that? Can you hold what once hurt you? And you don't have to worry about crying and tearing, but you can still bless and say, thank you for the lessons you taught me. You do not owe anyone your face story neatly wrapped up. Ah, listen, let me say this again. You do not owe anyone your face story. No one. That's between you and God. You are allowed to be a walking contradiction. I said it. You can be a walking contradiction. Why? You know what? Don't even believe me. I'm going to go right back to the cloud of witnesses. Look at all, and I mean all of the spiritual leaders down through history. They were all walking contradictions. They refused to live a life in containment. So question, doubt, analyze. That's what they did. You can do it. Because in your questioning, you will develop a knowing. In your doubting, you will develop joy. God, I promise, can handle your honesty. I promise he can. The divine is not fragile. In fact, think I think God expands you and expands inside you through your honesty, through your curiosity, through your courage, because it all takes courage, and your compassion. Based on God's resume, honesty, curiosity, compassion, those are all the foundation of building a true relationship with God. So, yes, question all you want. Questions do not scare God. Whew, whew. I want to tell you right now, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath right here. I know. I know this is deep and challenging. I know. I know it is. But you got this. If you are here listening to the sound of my voice, it means you are ready to move from deconstruction to divine design. So, how do you navigate this breakthrough? I sat on that. I was contemplating this. And you know what I'm gonna call it? I'm gonna call it stay. Stay. S-T-A-Y. The S, it stands for sit with your story. Stop running from it. I said it previously. I'm going to say it again. Stop running from it. Listen to what it is trying to show you and tell you. The T stands for tell the truth. Tell the truth even if it costs your comfort, even if it is messy. Truth clears the space so freedom can live. Because if you don't tell the truth and you make all these lies, freedom does not live in a lie. The A stands for ask better questions. Stop asking, what's wrong with me? What can I do better? That's the wrong question. The question should be, what is this teaching me about love? I said it before, I believe love is the heart of everything. Is love at the root of this, whatever your this is. Why? Yield to new revelation. Not everything needs to be rebuilt immediately. Please realize that and know this. It may not be immediate. It may not. Some of our foundations need to rest before we can see the rise, right? So, like I've mentioned before, our souls are like dirt. And after we till the soil, similar, this is being similar to a farmer. After you till the soil, sometimes there's a moment of rest. What's the resting for? Because sometimes the soil needs to settle as it's getting prepared for the next stage. It's okay to rest. That's how I see things. S-T-A-Y. You're not stuck. You're just being steady and preparing. If it's safe for you, go ahead and close your eyes. Or do this later on when you can. But do this. Imagine you're standing in a river. You feel the coolness of the water. You're strong. You're swaying a little bit. The kind that if you let go, it will carry you if you trust it. Behind you is the old version of you, the old faith, the rules, the noise, the striving. Ahead of you, a horizon glowing, glowing with something you cannot yet name, but you definitely feel, and you feel it pulling you. The water's moving around your feet and your knees. Imagine what the river is telling you. You are safe to release. You are safe to remember. You are safe to return. Now ask yourself, what would it look like if I trust my soul unfolding? How does divine love want me to meet now? Not as I was, but as I am. Let your mind rest on those answers. You do not need to rush the revelation. It is always about you meeting you. And when you meet you, it'll be the right time. And as we step out of this moment, remember this truth. Deconstruction is not the end of your faith. It is the end of imitation faith. What's being born what's being born inside of you is something truer. It's a living, breathing connection with the divine. I'm so glad that connection with the divine does not need validation from anyone to be real. So breathe deep. You are not lost. You are being found. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt on truth. You are not faithless. You are being freed from falsity, from imitation. And when you walk through the wilderness long enough, you stop asking the questions that provide you old answers. What you do, you start listening for the new sound, for the new language that God is speaking to you with. And at that moment, that is your divine awakening. It is the river at work in you and around you. Keep surrendering to love. Keep becoming who your spirit remembers you to be. Because freedom, wealth, and alignment, they were never rewards to be earned. They were always your divine inheritance. Reclaim it. Until next time, keep flowing in freedom. Thanks for flowing with us on the Liberating River. Subscribe, share, and come back next week for more wisdom, wealth, and alignment. Stay free, stay grounded, stay bold.